So RMB is Rotary Means Business. So it's a kind of a district-wide initiative. We have a variety of different participants. We have some folks that are kind of on the leadership end of things on RMB, and some folks that are kind of regulars to meetings like this. Pre-COVID, they were always in person, which made for a much different experience, of course. We've kind of tried to balance what we've been doing as a district, a Rotary district, along with what clubs have been doing, with what RMB is doing, and of course, a lot of people have a lot of concerns that have kind of superseded, RMB and some other volunteer activities. So we're trying to kind of use this format as a way to still engage with folks. Call it kind of a year-end meeting combined with a little bit of networking and gathering some insight from folks on what we see this looking like next year, because from a frequency standpoint, it may not make sense to do it on a monthly basis like we were. From a format standpoint, it's probably going to be a little while until we can get together in group settings. So how do we kind of navigate that? So this is kind of our temporary workaround, and we're using technology both in this call and also through some existing Rotary applications on smartphones and that sort of stuff to get to just stay creative. We've had our in-person gatherings range from 20 or 30 people upwards of 60, 70 people sometimes. It really just depends. It's amazing how many people you can attract with complimentary wine and beer. All right, I have 4:05, which is my birth date, so I think we should start now. Welcome everybody. We'll probably take regular breaks throughout here to kind of welcome people as they join. I turned off the waiting room, hopefully, so people don't have to wait on me to kind of click the button to admit them. But appreciate everyone being here. We have a couple things that we wanted to talk about today at RMB, and we'll try to be brief but effective in what we cover today. First, we'd like to welcome Jamie Keener. Jamie will tell you a little bit about him and his role at CAEDC. But once we start the meeting, I'll turn the floor over to him for a few minutes to talk about some of the local impacts and initiatives and things that they're seeing, and kind of how they see this whole thing maybe unwinding or moving forward. After Jamie speaks, we're going to do a little bit of networking in the form of breakout rooms. I think I know how to do this. I test ran it on Monday. So I'll throw some random folks into a room and let you guys have at it for a few minutes. The format's going to be kind of our traditional elevator pitch. So go around and, kind of take turns getting to know each other if you don't already. Again, the goal being we want to try to find ways that we can, creatively think of how to maybe position those other people with folks in your professional network. This is all about generating business. We are not LaTip. We are not an official networking group that does networking exclusively, but as part of our Rotary mission, we find that it's very appealing to do business with other Rotarians and professional networks, professional people in our Rotarian networks. So with that being said, I think we'll just jump right into it. Jamie, would you like to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about what you're seeing out there? And if the folks have questions, we have a small enough group where you could probably just kind of do this, or you can, I'm going to keep an eye on the chat as well. And maybe we have a few questions for Jamie when he's done making his remarks. So with that being said, Jamie, I'll put myself on mute and let you take it for a few minutes.
All right, Scott, I certainly appreciate the opportunity to come before this group. And I've known Scott. I grew up in Shippensburg, so I'm a South Central PA native. And then after working out of York for about 12 years, I moved to the Poconos, lived up there for 12 years, and decided I wanted to come back home. And so in 2012, moved back here. So shortly thereafter, got involved with the chamber and ran into Scott at West Shore Chamber activity. So I appreciate the relationship we've built over that time. And And again, networking is something that I certainly appreciate, and it's a little different these days, and I think we're all trying to figure it out. But I'm currently the CEO for Cumberland Area Economic Development Corporation. I spent 30 years with 2 engineering firms in the mid-state, and I got an opportunity through my experience with Chambers of Commerce and former township supervisor and various other experiences to be able to lead the Economic Development Corporation in Cumberland County. We oversee the EDC and also the Visitors Bureau. So through this time, you can imagine our budget was 80% from the hotel tax, and early on we took a big hit ourselves because the occupancies dropped to a little bit of nothing in April and May, and fortunately we had some comeback when the Carlisle events were able to have their car shows. So we're running about 45% of our hotel tax revenue, so it put a significant hurdle on us, but we're surviving, which is good, and our main role is to help others survive and to get through this, identify the resources available. And early on we were asked by the DCED as one of the EDCs in the state to administer grant applications for the COVID Working Capital Access Program. Every one of these has an acronym, and they're getting a little confusing these days, but so we did that early. That was probably April, May time frame. And then as you're aware, the county, the CARES program came out. Cumberland County got $22.9 million. We were fortunate enough to be able to administer almost 14 million of that for small businesses. So we put together a program, put together an online application, and we actually finally just got the final funds out to the applicants here within the last month. We've also been asked by Carlisle Borough. They had a CDBG CV program. They had about 150,000, so we were able to administer that as well. So we've really been a funding source, not a source, but an avenue to get funding to small businesses. And that's where we're seeing a lot of the pain right now, is in the small retailers, bars and restaurants. Early on, there's the daycares we're trying to figure out how to reopen and be able to get kids back, and that's really been one of the ongoing issues we've been working with the United Way of the Capital Region on, is the child care issue. And we're seeing in the labor force that a lot of women and some men have not gone back into the labor force because they're having to stay home with their kids that might be working or doing school virtually. So that's been an issue that I'm not sure a lot of people are aware of, but fortunately for Cumberland County, we went from about 3.6% unemployment in February. It went to a high of about I think it was 12.4% in April, and then recently we're down into the mid 4% range on unemployment, which we hope it stays there with this current wave of COVID. We're thinking it might go a little bit higher. So we're looking at unemployment and those that have been unemployed that may not find a job to come back to, and looking for opportunities to reskill and retool and redeploy them into other roles and occupations. So again, at CAEDC, we do a lot with workforce development. We collaborate with the South Central PA Works, which is the Workforce Investment Board regionally. We're collaborating with the Chambers of Commerce, West Shore, Shippensburg, Carlisle, and Mechanicsburg. So we've been very active working with them and trying to put webinars out and just identifying resources that our small businesses can go to. And I'll tell you, just in the 8 months that we've been dealing with this, it's become very obvious that there's a lot of small businesses that not only need financial help, but they just need administrative help or financial acumen to help run their businesses. Something we've been talking to SBDC out of Shippensburg University about training opportunities to help our small businesses survive. We just completed our strategic plan at CAEDC, and we're looking to really roll this thing out in 2021. I'm a certified land use planner by trade, and with that, I look at land use, I look at environmental issues, as part of the overall picture. And our first priority is to develop a healthy economic development ecosystem in Cumberland County. So that's looking at all aspects of business, of employment, of the natural environment. Again, as a destination management organization or destination marketing organization, the Visitors Bureau, we want to be able to attract visitors here, but we also want to be able to attract a qualified, talented workforce. And with the quality of life that we have in Cumberland County, we feel that is very attractive. And as we have the business travelers come to the county, we want to be able to serve them and help them to come back or relocate their businesses here. We think, again, it's an opportunity, and we're seeing some of that. Tesla is moving out of California, going to Texas, but we're also seeing, locally, some, businesses are moving out in New York or moving out of DC and wanting to get into, next tier cities. And the employees, same thing. They're looking to relocate their families into, second tier cities or more rural areas because they can now commute virtually. So I think we're going to see a lot of changes as a result of this. Even on the regulatory side, the boroughs and townships have had to make some changes relative to open container carry on the sidewalks, and just parking or outdoor dining and things that really is going to change the way we do business in our communities. One of the other areas that we're going to be looking at is downtown revitalization and trying to get our downtowns back to vibrant places. Carlisle Borough has done a good job at that over the last 10 years or so, but we're going to look to continue to do that in all of our communities in Cumberland County. When we look at the business side of things, I think we're fortunate to be very resilient in Cumberland County. We're rather diverse. We have a couple of really strong military bases that's not really affected by recession. We have some great educational institutions that again put out quality employees. We have a professional base. It's again a very, very great place to start a business or run a business, and just very fortunate again that we've been able to fend off much better than some of these other regions. If some of the current activity we're seeing with the warehouse distribution centers, that is continuing to grow. Much of that, again, because we need fulfillment. People are now ordering online, so we're going to continue to see that need grow. I am going to be on a call with Widener Law School next week, talking about the impacts of that and the legal ramifications of large-scale development. But we are the hub. We're the Northeast U.S. hub, and we're always going to have that opportunity for distribution here in Cumberland, York, Dauphin County. So I don't expect that to change. On the office space side, I think we're going to see a pretty significant hit. A lot of people, again, have learned how to work remotely, and the management has realized that a lot of people are able to be efficient and productive without coming to work, which is going to cut down on the brick and mortar costs, overhead costs associated with, especially professional services. I think some of the others are going to have to come back, but I think office space is going to be an area where we're going to be looking at to maybe redevelop some of the the office space, maybe even looked at mixed use, maybe a commercial retail on the first floor, and then see if we can convert to residential on the upper floors on taller office buildings. So that gives you a sense of, and it's pretty broad sense of what we've been involved with. Again, the tourism side, it's something that we're concerned about, and how long it's going to take to recover. We think it's going to be 22, 23 until we get back to normal. And again, it's pretty significant hit to us, to restaurants, to some of our other tourism assets that really are going to be affected for quite a while. So, with that, Scott, do you want to open it up for questions?
Yeah, if it's okay, I have one to kick it off. So Jamie, in my world, I'm constantly dealing with the SBA world and people buying other businesses, people getting loans for their business. So we've had our fair share of involvement in stuff that is in and around deferments, paycheck protection programs, all that good stuff. You had mentioned, and I actually started to write down the acronym before you said it. SBDC has been a long-time partner in the government guaranteed lending space, and really just general preparedness for business owners that need some additional insight and perspective. I'm quite intrigued with your comment about how this pandemic has really been a bit of a long stare in the proverbial mirror for a lot of business owners as to what they need to prioritize, how they're organized, what they do to insulate their business, diversify their business, come up with strategic plans, regardless of whether you're a 2-person shop or a 200-employee organization. So I guess my question is, can you think, are there any examples, of course, don't name the business, but any examples, generic examples of that, that business owner, that local business owner that maybe was doing something just a bad way, and that SBDC with your organization's help maybe turned around permanently?
Yeah, I will tell you, just a lot of the sole proprietors, I think about, some of the businesses that I've been around, and, you have a lot of great professional people that are good at what they do, but they're not always good business people. And, I think that's where we've seen a lot of it is, they don't have the accounting expertise, and they haven't, hired a consultant to be able to assist them with their bookkeeping. They're trying to do it themselves, and it's just obvious that the financial reports that we were getting as we were doing the grant reviews, it's just very poor in the accuracy and the documentation that they had available. With the SBDC, I'm going to also offer, we had a little webinar the other day with the 4 chambers and the SBDC. They've hired consultants to be able to assist this business. Bruce Krell, who used to work for Lou Barletta's office, he is now a consultant for Cumberland and Franklin counties to assist businesses with COVID recovery and sustainability. So they've identified or have hired a couple people in there. There's another gentleman for York and Adams County, and I'm not sure what's going on for the other side of the river, but there are people that are out there and available, and the SBDC, their services are free. So if you know anybody that has a need for business consulting, certainly they're available to assist. But yeah, I just think it really has, caused people to take a little closer look to their business and better understand, how they can be more resilient going forward.
Last question for me, then I'll shut up. Outdoor dining seemed to be a welcome savior in the latter summer, early fall months, and people took a lot of advantage of that while still respecting the guidelines and that sort of thing. Obviously, with colder weather, we've seen some businesses get even more creative. I like Thea's crystal clear balloons, or pumpkins as they look like, outside the restaurant.
Sure.
Stevie's at Camp Hill Borough, the little not omelet, crepe Crate Place and Fantastic Food, they have little tents, which are kind of cool. So I definitely see creativity. A lot of business owners have proactively kind of gravitated towards. But of course, once snow starts falling and ice starts being formed, and we get into what's probably going to be a pretty tough winter as far as showing restraint and still being able to kind of get out of our houses and maybe try to patronize some of these businesses. Any ideas out there that you've seen or heard about that might be interesting or surprising in and around, patronizing businesses, whether they be restaurants or otherwise?
Yeah, so we've been on calls with PRLA. It's Pennsylvania Restaurant and Lodging Association. Just the last 2 weeks, we've been talking to them, and we want to put resources out there of the best management practices that restaurants are using. Watershed Pub actually is putting in some heaters on their porch, and they're getting some blinds that they're going to hang on the outside of their porch just to try to contain the heat from the heaters. So they're hoping to stay open year round. Now I did see some anticipated guidelines that may come out. We're not sure if they're official at this point, but there's potentially going to be some additional restrictions put on for indoor dining here in the near future, which again, it's going to be devastating to our restaurants. We've been trying to help them as much as we possibly can, and I know a lot of them have pivoted well to the carry out and curbside service, but others just haven't been able to catch up there. And even in the outdoor dining, there's just some that don't have space to be able to do it.
Yeah.
Those that did, I think they've taken advantage of it. If you had a tent to rent, certainly you had an opportunity to keep your business going. So.
Yep. Other folks with other questions for Jamie, feel free to just chime in, unmute yourself, and ask your question.
And if you don't have any, then
I had a question. I know during sort of boom times, you're kind of back on the financial acumen of small businesses and so forth, and not getting the help that they need. Is there a pathway for small businesses to kind of get that help? I know you mentioned a consultant and that, but many of them probably aren't even aware. They don't know what they don't know, and they're looking at their when they're looking at their margins, maybe they're not looking at actual margins. Maybe they're looking at some other statistic and making irrational assumptions based on that, only because they never had to learn it. Because when things are going well, it just seems like money falls out of the sky.
Right.
What structures are in place, or maybe what structures need to be in place to assist these businesses, kind of raise their awareness, I guess?
So that's a good point. And I think coming out of this, I think we need to do a better job of marketing those services. I know the chambers do it some to their members, but I think we need to do it more globally, because there's a lot of people that are not members. We were surprised. Gary Chicatano is the pandemic coordinator for Cumberland County, and he was at a restaurant and asked the lady, did you get any help? And she's like, no. And she said, I didn't know I qualified. And he was like, well, are you a member of the chamber? And she's like, no, I don't have time for that. Well, I will tell you that's where a lot of this information has been going through. The chamber, the county, the county PR department. We did a press release when the original CARES grant stuff went out. But I think we're going to do a better job of publicizing the need for small businesses, and the needs that they have, the resources, and that's really what we're supposed to do, is connect those resources with the needs. So, you'll see a concerted effort on us to, at least reach out to the businesses. Now, we can't make them take the service, but certainly if you're aware and others are aware of the needs, those services, again, SBDC, it's free. I know SCORE, there's SCORE groups around as well that can assist with that too. So the resources are out there. People just have to understand that they need them. And I think now a lot of them, basically they hit over the head and said, yeah, I need to do something.
Yeah. The other question I had for you is I think you said for, kind of hospitality and tourism, you're thinking of, sometime during 22, 23 being kind of fully recovered. You think it's possible for those, once there's a vaccine, readily available, let's say by the conclusion of, 2021, that, is it possible that timeline could be shorter?
I certainly hope so. It's a lot of it's going to be consumer confidence, and people's willingness to travel. I will tell you, I think we did well because people couldn't fly or didn't want to fly. So there were, I think, more overnight stays, and our marketing really pushed the DC Philly market for overnight stays for 1 or 2 nights. I anticipate that when people feel more comfortable flying, you're going to see more vacations to the beaches and to the islands, which may hurt us a little bit, but we're looking for opportunities to continue to grow our assets, our tourism assets. We don't have a Hershey Park, we don't have Gettysburg Battlefield. I think again, it's a deterrent for us. So we've been really marketing our outdoor assets with the trails and so forth. So yeah, it's going to take some time. I certainly hope if the vaccine is successful and people need to be willing to take it, and that's another going to be a public relations issue that we're going to be dealing with. I was told one of our county commissioners, I said, if you want me to, I said I'll stand there in the public with you and get the shot. So it's going to be a personal decision, but ultimately I think the herd immunity needs to be at a certain percentage.
Yeah. Thank you. And thank you for being here with us today, too. I appreciate it, Jimmy.
No, I appreciate the opportunity.
Any other questions for Jamie? Well, Jamie, I appreciate you taking some time. I know getting the word out can sometimes be done at large scale, small scale, and a lot in between. Really appreciate your insight. My last question is really just about any recommendations here, in South Central PA. You and I are, I think, both in Cumberland County, but for those of us in different areas, we probably have the same dynamic with trying to support local small businesses at the same time trying to kind of follow CDC guidelines, social distancing, all that other good stuff. As it relates to probably the businesses that are going to be most negatively impacted or have been most negatively impacted, the barbershops, the restaurants, the indoor dining, that sort of thing. Recommendations could be gift cards, could be anything else. What can we as consumers do, whether it's helping out with hope for a future kind of return, or patronization that might be a little creative to help our much needed backbone of our communities to continue to make it through this hopefully temporary phase.
Yeah, so it's interesting you bring that up because we currently have a task force. We're working on that with Gary Shikatano, since we sort of pivoted from the CARES grants. We are looking at the bars and restaurants and the tourism related industry, the small retailers that are benefit from tourism as well. We're looking at opportunities to be able to help them, and we have looked at the gift card issue. That is a little troublesome depending on the financial institution. If we can, we're trying to get actual debit cards, but that's not easily done. So we're looking at other avenues, but certainly patronize your local restaurants. They're struggling, a lot of them. Some of them again are doing very well because they've pivoted to carry out, and some of our beer manufacturers are doing well also. But yeah, just buy gift cards, just as much as you possibly can, and go in and patronize them for carry out. Certainly would be helpful. And yeah, it's a national thing, but we work together regionally. I was on it's called our prep call with our regional EDCs from Adams, Cumberland, York, Franklin, Lancaster, Dauphin, Lebanon. And, we're all talking about the same thing. We're all collaborating and trying to provide each other the resources that we need to help out. So, yeah, so no matter where you are, whatever you can do to help.
I was just on a call on a Zoom meeting about an hour ago with the Rotary Club of Burlingame out in California, and the mayor was on the call, and she mentioned that they've established something they call Support Burlingame, which is kind of a clearinghouse for gift cards and other ways of helping local businesses. I don't know whether having some kind of a website or whatever it would be to facilitate the gift cards and other kinds of support. I don't know
that's similar to what we're looking at. We're looking at doing a microsite on our website. Mm-hmm. I know State College, Happy Valley, they have something similar for their downtown, right. Where the retailers and so forth, at least a clearinghouse for those businesses to, support them. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's one of the things we're looking at is a microsite to be able to assist. And then all the chambers are doing much the same as well. Shop small, think big, shop small, keep it local. Any of those campaigns that are helping to, get our residents to patronize our local businesses.
Thank you.
Thank you, Alden.
Yeah.
And our district governor is here. Mr. Anthony, how are you? Welcome.
I am fantastic. Apologize for being late. Had to do some business today. So this 4 o'clock starts like the middle of the day. Goodness gracious. Great to see Jamie again. Jamie, how are you?
Good to see you.
Nice beard. You didn't have that last time I saw you.
No, it was a little COVID growth. So.
Yeah, well done.
Yeah.
John, I don't know if you ascertained, but Jamie was just wrapping up some answers to questions. I was about ready to dismiss him, but unless you wanted to put him on the hot seat again.
No, I would never do that to Jamie officially. Maybe later.
Well, John, I really, I met John a couple years ago with I worked for HRG, and we were helping Mechanicsburg Borough with the whole downtown Mechanicsburg partnership and downtown revitalization. And John, I haven't seen you for a little while, but know that we're continuing to support your revitalization. And I think some of the things we were talking about, like closing down the alley and being able to have outdoor dining, those things, I hope they stay once we come out of COVID, and, those opportunities for those businesses in the downtowns really to be able to thrive. I'm excited about it. It's, there is some good that's going to come out of this. And I think some of that is relaxed regulation on some of these downtown businesses.
Yeah, you said the magic word, opportunity, and you're right. There are more opportunities now because of what's happening with COVID. People willing to try new things that they weren't maybe willing to try pre-COVID. So yeah, we're going to certainly in our downtown going to try and take advantage of that post-COVID. We need to get through this first, and we got to try to support the businesses that are with us while we're going through this. So very excited about shopping downtown and trying to drive business there. So grateful to have you at the helm there in the county.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Well, thanks again, Jamie. Appreciate a round of applause for Jamie. Thanks for being here. Really do appreciate the insight. I think your words resonated with us. It was good to hear some perspective too that we don't often get to hear from someone in your position with all the connections you have with government officials, local communities, and boroughs. It's awesome. All right.
Yeah,
so
if anybody wants to reach out to me, it's cumberlandbusiness.com. You can get in touch with me if you need to awesome. Chat about anything. So awesome. I'm going to depart. I got 2 kids to take care of tonight. So.
Thanks, Jamie. Appreciate it, man. Awesome. All right. Well, let's transition to our the most favorite part of RMB, and that's talking about ourselves, right? Because if we don't talk about ourselves, who's going to know what we are, who we are, what we do, and how to refer each other? So I'm going to see if I can't work this breakout room, and I'll try to keep it into some smaller groups, and we'll go from there. So hopefully I can check in with everybody. But remember, elevator pitch, just take turns and see what kind of connections you may have with one another. Good luck.